Hi, this is Amanda, Artemis the Forester, Rune Reader, Diviner, Polytheist, Mystic. This is Thor, who has screwed up my first couple of takes, and now he's going to start licking himself, so let's try not to ruin the next one, baby. So I guess he just wanted to be a part of the Solstice celebrations here, so you can't really blame him for that. He actually knocked over my phone the last time, so let's hope he stays here. I'm actually recording this on the winter solstice. See if I can recenter after he screwed me up a little bit. Sorry, Thor. Because I actually wanted to show the tree. Because I'm actually talking a little bit about, I'm talking a little bit about how the solstice and traditions have carried over from different pagan cultures, pre-Christian cultures all over Europe have carried over into what we consider Christmas now. They were from a lot of different places, like the Yule log, I believe, was mostly Britain. But the tree, which you could call Yule or solstice tree if you don't want to call it a Christmas tree, honestly, I call it interchangeably. Probably shouldn't use the term Christmas, but whatever. It's pretty much a cultural thing at this point anyway. I'm going to be going to some friend's house, pagan friend's house, for Christmas too. So, I mean, it's a cultural thing at this point. So you can use the term interchangeably. The different Germanic people would bring a whole tree inside and decorate it, and sometimes put actual candles on the tree, which I would not recommend, by the way. That sounds quite dangerous. Hopefully it was only for one night, because if it was a fresh tree, I imagine that probably wouldn't be as dangerous as where we're leaving it up for weeks at a time while they're drying out. But yeah, that sounds quite dangerous. Whereas the Romans did not bring entire trees in during Saturnalia, which celebrates the god Saturn. Obviously, today we also move into Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, so tidbit there. Saturnalia was celebrated from the 17th to the 25th, and they would bring in branches of evergreens into the house. And this was an act of sympathetic magic to protect the plant spirits and through the long, cold, dark of winter, and also to ask for their protection. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before on my channel, but I'm going to repeat it again because I think it's very important. There's a temptation with modern people to kind of look down on our ancestors when there's stuff like that, like, oh, this is just so primitive. I'm actually going to use that word because we tend to want to have the traditions and the beauty of the traditions, but to not actually engage with it on the deep spiritual level that we should be engaging with it. I mean, these rituals endure for a reason. Traditions are traditions for a reason. But we still want to look down on our ancestors and call them primitive. And I work a lot with plant spirits. I would rather have a living tree. And this is a living tree. I don't like the artificial ones. There's no soul in them. There's no magic to them. There's no smell. But mine is potted. So after January 5th, I'm going to plant it on a friend's property. So mine gets to survive. So for those of you who don't like cutting down a tree, you can actually get potted trees and then plant them. But I personally don't want to throw my tree out like trash. If I wasn't in a position to plant it, I would try to burn it in a bonfire, respectfully. Because what we need to remember is this is a spirit. This is a living being. Mine is a spruce. And so when I brought him in, and I am saying him, when I brought Grandfather Spruce home, before I decorated him, I did a ritual, and I set up a little altar in front of him, and I offered bread and honey and butter, and I asked him to protect this home and everyone in it. And I actually spoke to him like a peer and thanked him for his gifts and asked him to serve as my Yule tree. And he has a very calming presence, very unassuming would be the word, I guess. Very steady, unassuming energy. And what I'm going to do, I've got a little sachet hanging on here as, well, you can't see it, I guess. A little sachet hanging on here as one of the ornaments. And then at the end of the Christmas season, I said January 5th for a reason, by the way. Traditionally, it's bad luck to take your Christmas tree down before January 5th. Since I got permission from him, I'll cut a few of these little twigs off as a protection thing and put them in the sachet, and then it gets hung above the threshold to my household, and it as a protection. And next year, when I get the other tree, which may not be spruce, it may be fir, it may be pine, whatever I am drawn to that year, but whatever will serve as my Yule tree next year, it'll be changed out. And so you see, these aren't, this is a very deep level of engaging with the plant spirits and with all the community of spirits around us. And creating a continuity of rituals so that as the wheel turns each year, you return to the same place. I hope that makes sense. But it creates this building each year, and it becomes very powerful. And even if you move, that can go with you. Some things are a little harder and can't be taken with you, but that's one that can be taken with you to your over your threshold. And something that I did, because a lot of our families are not in households anymore. A lot of our tribes are pretty spread out. Not all, but most of the ornaments on here represent a person in my tribe. So my roommate is the bear. I am the stag. My boyfriend, of course, the obstinate Gemini, broke the animal and nature theme. Couldn't think of an animal or a plant that symbolizes him. He's a Rubik's Cube. He collects Rubik's Cubes. He likes puzzles. But I got a Rubik's Cube for him. So, each of these symbolizes someone. There's even a cardinal for my roommate's grandmother who is on the other side, no longer with us in the physical. And I during this ritual, I also told grandfather, because I named him and I've been speaking to him, because as I've talked a little bit about this, as you're engaging as an animist and a polytheist with the world around you, you really need to change the Western way of thinking that these are not objects. These are people. These are entities. And so as I've been engaging with him and watering him, I've been telling him about the people in my tribe and why they deserve protection and why they're good people. And so I told him about my roommate and my roommate's sister and her mother and my roommate's niece, for example. Now, not all of them live with us, obviously, but that's a part of my extended family. And my brother and his wife live several states away, but that's obviously a part of my tribe. So there are symbols on all of up here for everyone in my tribe. There's a couple that are still on the way, I'll admit, because I'm still a little tight for gas. But I'm very proud of this, and that's something that I intend to keep doing. Something else that you can do. This may not be something that resonates for everyone, but I really resonate with plant spirits. As some of the needles has been drying and falling off, I've been saving them. But I do this because I save petals from flowers and from everything. You know, all my boyfriend calls them my witcheries. So I've got jars full of herbs and dried flower petals and just whatever, you know, all my witcheries just hanging everywhere. And so they can be used for spells, but they can also be used to mix incenses and as offerings and just all sorts of different things. And especially when it comes from something sacred and from a ritual and also from a spirit being that you had and it's a special contact with, it's much, much more powerful and much, much more special. And so when this eventually goes into a bottle or a jar, it'll be labeled Spruce Needles Yule 2019. So, some other things that you can do to celebrate the season in a pagan way. You may be aware of this, you may not be aware of this. Santa Claus is, you may have heard of him being based off of Saint Nick, the Christian saint, which there's some of that in scripture. But he's also been influenced a lot by Odin, especially in his guise of Oski, the gift giver. So I know people who have adapted St. Nicholas Day, which is the 5th of December, and renamed it Oski's Day. So, and you can do German traditions from that day, and I know people who are really into the Krampus traditions too. So there's kind of the dark side there, which makes you wonder if Krampus comes from Odin's dark side, like if they had to split that in order for it to be Christian. But that's a whole nother discussion. I don't know enough about that to actually say for certain, so I'm just speculating. But something that can get you into the spirit can be different crafts, and this guy, I've been looking for a Santa for years that I liked, and I have to say, this one goes out to my boyfriend. Hi, Thor. Thor's getting in the video again. My boyfriend found this guy for me at Goodwill. Thor's just gotta get all into everything, and I love him. He just looks to me like a nature god. My first thought was he looks like Radagast from Lord of the Rings, doesn't he? And so I'm still planning on wood burning runes into his staff eventually, so he's not 100% done. But I modified him quite a bit. He added this pine right here. I added the snowflake. The owl is super glued into here. And this is actually from my grandmother. And the skull, of course, because the Wild Hunt is writing tonight, and this is the winter solstice is just as much about death and rebirth as it is about light. And I put crystals in the bird's nest. That's cornelian quartz and tiger's eye. I also painted a painting of Suna, the Norse sun goddess. Different things that you can do to try to get into the holiday spirit. Some of us, not all pagans come from, some of us love the holidays, but it's taken me a long time to get here, I'm gonna admit. I had a really, really bad relationship with Christmas. Like, really, what is this? Okay, I'm just gonna keep going because he's knocked that over like 3 times, and I'm 14 minutes in now. Thor, get over here. Come here. Come on. Sorry. Some of us have had a really bad relationship with Christmas. And that those of us from not great homes can have real bad memories around it. And the best way I've found to enjoy the holidays wasn't by forcing myself to try to enjoy the holidays, as crazy as that sounds. I didn't suddenly wake up one day and start enjoying the holidays. I had to spend several years not doing anything and just staying home and binge watching X-Files. But the best way that I started to actually look forward to the holidays was by doing charity work. By creating a good holiday for other people who are in a worse off condition than I am, that by focusing on giving a good holiday experience to other people, it creates a good feeling, you know? Charity isn't limited to Christians. It never has been. And that's one way to heal some of the trauma baggage. This might just be unique to me, but I don't think it actually is. There are a lot of Grinches out there. And there are a lot of pagans with Christian baggage, specifically. So I have a feeling there's quite a bit of overlap. But I don't want to go completely into this. So if you really want to look into it, I suggest you look up Teal Swan's video about how to enjoy the holidays if you hate holidays. I'll link it in the video description. She's a New Age guru, really awesome. So I will link that. I have a few books that I'm going to recommend. This was not a very long video. I have my own rituals that I'm going to be doing at midnight. And this one, I didn't have a script for this. It's not very well thought out. I'm sorry. I just kind of felt like I should be doing something. And I would actually like to start doing videos, probably not for every Sabbath, because I don't celebrate every Wiccan Sabbath. But for the solstices and the equinoxes, I'm probably going to do videos for those. And I'm going to try to get them out beforehand from now on. And give you some ideas about how you can celebrate. And I would like to also do some videos about different gods and introduction to how you can meet them, and different ideas for worship. The ones that I'm thinking of most heavily right now are Odin and Dionysus. I've had some very intense experiences with both of them, particularly Dionysus, and I'm thinking about a festival of his that I've mentioned before, Antisteria, which is coming up in the spring, in a couple months. So I will probably decide which gods I'll be talking about based on my own festival calendar. But that is something that I would like to be doing. So I have a couple books that I want to recommend. There is one that I've heard is really good, but I have to say I haven't read it. I would like to get it, but I've heard it's really good, called When Santa Claus Was a Shaman. Which was written by Dutch immigrants who came over to America in the 40s and basically recognized all this shamanic influence to Santa and to the holiday craziness over here. So that's like on my list of like one of the next books I'm going to get when I get paid. So I don't know how good it is, but I've heard good things, and I just thought I'd share that. But the books that I'm sharing here are ones that I know are good. This one I've read several times, that is marked up with a lot of notes, and I'm rereading it again. Pagan Christmas: The Plants, Spirits, and Rituals at the Origins of Yuletide, by Christan Rätsch and Claudia Müller-Ebeling. And this obviously is mostly focusing on plants. Again, I'm really focused on plant spirits. But it's got so much information about the animist side of things. And it's really fascinating. And if you look at the cover, which it's a Christmas tree, that is Odin right there. That's Odin. So this is even from years ago, from before I actually got hardcore into heathenry. And it's just interesting to look back and realize that I can kind of see steps. I can kind of see Odin's hand on my life years ago. I've gotten divination that says I still belong to Athena, but that Odin is kind of taking over for me right now. So we'll see what happens going forward. I should probably do a video about my spiritual life at some point, but right now it's just a little confusing. But this book is really fantastic, and really breaks down a lot of this, I mean, everything from all the aromas of Christmas. It talks about different, even non-European ones. Like it's got, it's been so long since I've read this far. I'm not sure why, but it's actually showing the saguaro cactus from Arizona. I think they talk about some of the Mexican and some of the indigenous solstice celebrations too. So there's a lot in here. I mean, this is deep information, real deep. Another one, which some of you might have read, Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. Really fantastic if you are trying to decipher the meaning of an animal, or that may have come to you in a dream, or a spirit guide, or just real life. I really gotta stop saying that. Real life. Physical life. Spirit messages are real too. Physical life. See? That monotheist filter still works on me too. That is the Western brainwashing still working on me. That's a whole nother rant. But yeah, that's a thing. That is a thing. That's an issue that, yeah, we all have to be aware of our programming. Well, he's got one called Nature Speaks, Signs, Omens, and Messages in Nature by Ted Andrews. Okay, so this one is, again, I've been working really heavily with plant spirits. So this one has rituals. He works with angels too. So you may not have, you may not be that interested in the angel stuff. But angels I don't work with angels. But I know pagans and polytheists who are hardcore polytheists who do. Angels don't have to be just in a Christian context. They are, angelos is Greek for messenger. It's kind of just another form of spirit being. But I understand if you don't really want anything to do with it. The angels are not my thing. So I don't really do the angel stuff myself. But it's really fantastic information about all the it's got the messages of trees and oceans and mountains, and just the spiritual component of that. If you've read Animal Speak, or if you know of Animal Speak or Animal Wise, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it's about reading signs and omens in nature. And but he's also got a ritual in here for each solstice and each equinox. So that is a suggestion if you want to look through there. Alright, this one is not specifically just about the winter solstice. However, this one is I used so much, I completely destroyed it and dog-eared it, and I had to buy another one because that's how much I used it. This one is called Classical Living, Reconnecting with the Rituals of Ancient Rome. Myths, Gods, Goddesses, Celebrations, and Rites for Every Month of the Year by Francis Bernstein, ph.D. And this is the new one, and you can see how dog-eared it is. So this is arranged by month, and we're about to enter January, so I'll probably end up doing, like I said, I'd like to do more videos based on my festival calendar, and to let you guys know what I do. And so I'm just going to show you the beginning. January is named for Janus, the Roman god of the door, thresholds, beginning and endings. And so this is just a really fantastic book with all these different rituals and ways to think about the Wheel of the Year. The Wheel of the Year is the Wiccan here. I really like it better when I script these. So obviously right now, December is Saturnalia. And what's really cool about Saturnalia is that it wasn't just the birth of the unconquerable sun on the 25th, but it was a time of social upheaval. And that sounds bad, but it was a time of controlled social upheaval. And during this time, all shops were shut down, and no business was allowed to be conducted for this week. And the normal social order was upturned. Masters would wait on the slaves, and the freedmen would, slaves would wear the hat of the freedmen and run around and do whatever they want, and a lord of misrule, a mock king, was crowned. And I've actually written a ritual when I was practicing with a group and running a temple out of my home, where we actually crowned a mock king for Saturnalia. And in the modern age, since we obviously don't have slaves and we will not be having slaves again, what we can do is let the children run the household. And I know some of you are going to be like, no. That doesn't mean don't pay the bills or expect the kids to pay the bills. That means, let the kids, don't have a separate holiday kids table at the holidays. Let the kids come serve you. Let them be a part of the adult games. Oh, that sounded a little wrong, but I think you know what I mean. Upturn the social order a little bit. Festivity, be jolly and not just forced cheerfulness, like, everything is a-okay. This is actually a little bit of turning the social order inside out. And it's kind of a cathartic thing when everyone else is we are this is more stuff that our society just doesn't have rituals anymore. We have the vestiges of them, but we don't have rituals. And I think that's why we have a society of children. We don't have a coming of age ritual for adults anymore. So we have no clear marker of when boys become men and women become, and girls become women. So we just have a bunch of man children and women children too. And it's because there are no clear rituals. There's no delineation anymore. There's no cultural agreed upon ritual. We are myth makers. That is the biggest cultural, that is biological. We make myths. We tell stories. And as our society is starting to fall apart, we just don't have the same rituals that hold our society together anymore. It's kind of like we've had this misrule all year long. Damn, that's heavy. I just realized that. Boy, I kind of hate to end on that, but I've also only got a few minutes left. That could be a whole nother video. I have a ritual for myself that I'm waiting to perform at midnight. I don't know if this is actually going to upload tonight, but I'll be reading runes tomorrow at Mystic Beads and Earthware. Yeah, that was a sobering note to end this on, wasn't it? Happy solstice. Well, one other thing you could do. Get up tomorrow with the sunrise and actually watch it rise. I know you probably don't want to. Most of the people don't want to. I don't want to, but I'm going to. I'm going to get up and actually watch the sunrise after the longest night of the year, and I'm going to celebrate, and I'm going to pour out a drink to her. You can do orange juice, you can do mead, those are both solar substances. You could do some kind of citrusy tea, lemon, ginger, those are both solar. Make an offering as the sun rises, because after today, the light returns. So yeah, I just went a little dark there for a second talking about society falling apart, but the light is returning. The light is returning. Sorry, I have seasonal depression. I can get a little dark right now. The light is returning. The wheel turns. It's going to be alright. We will survive this. And that's what Yule is about. That's what this celebration is about. That's what our ancestors held this to remind us of. The sun is reborn, light is returning, and our tribe will survive the winter. Skull.